Welcome back to the One Predator podcast. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about optics and where we started with those. Josh is here with me, as usual, teammate. Audio guy.
Yeah, audio guy.
Audio professional. Tell me about yours.
Me? What I started with? Well, we kind of touched on it last episode. I started with the Barska.
Yep.
And just a cheap Amazon red light. No focusing. Couldn't change the brightness at all.
Was it like that? I don't even remember.
It was just.
I think I have one of those too, but it wasn't Amazon.
It's it was a good way to start. When you're just starting out, you don't know what you need or.
It was a cheap way to start.
It was a very cheap way to start. Which
you could take a daytime gun, throw a clamp on it with a light, and you were hunting.
Yep. And I mean that's how
you weren't seeing much, but you were.
No.
Well, I don't want to say that. I mean, we seen stuff, we shot stuff, but it was. They started to get. I mean, we were running them lights full bore. Remember?
Well, couldn't dim it, so
right.
It was what it was. There was
and it was red.
It was red, yes.
And they don't see red, but I think they see it's the shadows it creates. So if you're hunting something with trees or even brush,
hills,
yeah, and it's like taking a flashlight and waving it in front of your eye, like the light dark.
Yeah,
they got real smart to that real quick.
Yes, they did.
But there was other people hunting back then too. I mean, we're not like the Flintstones of coyote hunting around here. So I imagine there was lots of other guys that had lights.
Oh yeah, before IR or
right
thermal or anything was available for public use. That was only
it was all military stuff. Yep.
So. Yeah, the old Barska illuminated reticle.
That was super handy.
It was.
Mine was like that.
Had to use the green, though. You couldn't use red on red. It's red and green, different.
Just didn't mix.
Different brightnesses.
Right.
Ran that for, 3 years at least?
Yeah, I got pictures of it on my phone.
At least 3 years. Because I think it was 2020. Just before COVID hit. We got our sight marks.
Yep. From
Night Vision guys. Shipping's not great.
Nope.
You got yours in 2 weeks, and it took me 4 or 5 to get mine. The
season
it
was a while.
Ended before I got my scope.
It was a while. Yeah, I got mine quick.
Yeah.
But I say quick. I had to email them a couple times. Maybe they're just busy. I mean, I don't want to judge.
No. I'm not knocking them.
I don't like the thing I didn't like about it was we had paid for such product,
right,
and we did not have it,
right. It was
we did payments,
paid for.
I did payments.
Yeah, no, I did too. I was making payment. I made a payment before I got the thing.
Right, me too. Well, they took I don't know. I can't say if I did. I know I had to wait for it, and I didn't like that.
Yeah, it was.
Because, in my line of work, we don't get paid till the job's done. So, we don't get paid before we start something. Or if I sell a product from the farm, or if somebody buys something, either way, whether it be an animal or whatever, it's payment first, then product.
Right. They were paid.
Yeah.
They got paid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember. I remember the struggle.
Yes, it was.
A lot of emails.
A lot of emails.
I called them a few times, and I was like, "Listen."
Yeah, season
I get
coming
it.
to an end.
Right.
We understand that things are getting crazy because of the whole COVID thing.
Yeah, it was COVID. Yeah.
But I was like, come on.
Right. It just took forever.
So, the Sightmark,
and that was a huge purchase.
Oh, at the time for us,
We were like, wow, this thing's $600 or $599.
yeah, it was, and it was a good scope.
My wife thought I was crazy.
Oh, so it is.
It was what a game changer.
Absolutely.
Like the first night out, I can remember like, wow.
Yep.
The things that we seen that we probably never would have seen.
Oh yeah. No, the sight distance was much, much further. I mean,
Yep.
you're going from 80 to 100 yards to
Yeah,
like
we were-
500-600.
Right, we had to, yeah.
You know,
With the right light. Not the stock one, 200 yards.
yes.
But it used those stupid CR123 batteries.
That was
I
for
think.
the stock light. Yeah.
I hated those.
No, I don't think I've ever used the stock light
Oh, yeah.
because I had the Predator Tactics light,
Yeah.
which I bought for red light
And then
when
you,
we were using the regular
Right.
scope.
scope lights.
Scope.
And then you put an
And
IR
I
bulb in.
got the IR bulb.
Yeah. Do you remember which one it was? Was it the one we got from Tony up to the...
No, I got mine right from Predator Tactics.
Yeah, I think my first light came from up there. It was a kit. It was green.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
red and green. It came with red and green.
Mine didn't. Only had
No?
green in it. I
Oh,
had
see,
to buy the red bulb
I
or
had
the red
both.
module
Yep.
and then switched it.
Ah.
So what else did you have after that?
After the sight mark was the C50,
Right.
the Pulsar Digex C50.
I'm back to the sight mark thing. We almost forgot to mention this. They're a great scope.
They are good scope.
If you're
an
starting
entry-level
out,
IR
absolutely.
scope,
Absolutely.
pair it with a good light, either the Predator Tactics light,
Yep.
or then I got the Coyote Cannon.
Right, good old sniper hog.
Yep. That's a big light. It's heavy,
Yeah, made the guns heavy.
but it's a great light. I mean, you can see easily out to 1,000 yards with that thing. If
Yep.
you got the room to see that far, it's the perfect good combination.
Right.
I can't say perfect combination.
I mean, it's
it's a good
and-
combination.
Yeah, and you weren't like you could see that far when you say 1,000 yards. You could see that far, but you couldn't. It wasn't crystal clear identification either.
No, you
Could tell between a dog and a deer.
right. And you can pick up the IR picks up in their eyes,
Right.
So you get the reflection in the eyes, and you
Right.
can see there's something out there, and then you have to figure out how it's moving.
Right, which is what I was going to say next. Is like when you're, coming from a light to these scopes, and you were seeing these distances and having eye shine, and we were still scanning with red lights,
Still
headlights at the
headlamp.
time,
Yep.
and you had to learn the movements. Like a fox would bounce,
Yes.
okay, but like a coyote when it's running, they like bound. They're not as bouncy as a fox. Like a fox is like right out of a Disney movie. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just like,
just-
coyotes, they're kind of a dead trot. And then your cats, they just walk. They just come at you. Their heads don't move. They're very flat and they just come straight at you. They never stop and pause. A coyote and a fox will wiggle and jiggle around. Fox more than a coyote. And, so you had to learn. And then obviously the deer, which there was an oopsie with one of those once, and that was my fault. But a deer, because, you looked for the head travel because they got like a 3-foot neck on them. So
Yeah.
you knew when they were down low and then picked their head up to eat, when they were eating, you knew that you looked for that travel. And even the space, the deer's eyes are further apart than a coyote,
Yep.
which at certain at long distances is hard to figure,
It's
because they're
hard to
just
tell.
bright.
Yeah.
They're just like two balls of fire.
Yep. So with the sight mark and the Coyote Cannon, it was a good combination for distance, and then once your target got in closer, you can identify a lot better.
It recorded.
It recorded. Yeah,
No
we had-
sound, but it
No.
recorded. That was
Well,
huge.
the version we had did not record. No, record sound.
Right,
The newer ones I believe do have sound.
right,
We're talking 4 years ago now.
right. I have the OG of sight marks.
Yep. And then the biggest problem we had with the sight, well, at least I had with the sight mark, is the cold.
Yep.
It did not like to work in the cold.
Nope.
Here in the Northeast, I mean, this weekend, for example, it's going to be cold.
Yes.
And it get down, down below 20, 15, right. 20 degrees. And it just
red screen wouldn't turn on.
Wouldn't turn on. Trying to change batteries in the dark.
Yep.
On a stand, trying to, fiddle around with those things, trying to get it to turn on. And it's just frustrating as all get out.
Right. You get all the way out, set up somewhere, and your scope don't turn on.
Yeah. It's
super, super frustrating.
Absolutely.
Multiple times that happened.
Yes.
And then we went to the battery packs, so I did it first, and I was dumb and just put the cord in there, and I had my battery packs attached to my rifle with the cord swinging around, and the first night I broke the SB port off.
Yep.
The mini SB port off in my scope because, like an idiot, I was carrying it around with the battery hooked up. And then we educated ourselves on the magnetic cords.
Yeah, the breakaway.
Right. And even just the simple fact of don't be dumb and uncook the thing when you take it. Once it's in the tripod and you're set up, then hook it up. And don't try to carry it with it. No. And mine was broke, and it's still broke, and I would run batteries.
Yeah.
At least you had the battery pack.
I had the battery pack.
Well, then you wouldn't turn it off.
I wouldn't turn it off. I'd just leave it running. And that helped a little bit. I think there was a couple times it still screwed up in the extreme cold. Probably be a good scope for the south.
That's what we were just saying. Yeah,
where it doesn't get too cold.
Right.
I mean, it can get cold.
Well, yeah, we're not saying it can't get cold down there. They're getting some cold right now, but it's like that, all the time up here. But like if you're in the southern part of the country, that's why, like, a lot of guys in Texas run them and stuff, and they don't have any problems with them. Like, you don't have the temperature fluctuations that we have.
Right.
That just consume battery power.
Yes.
Even with the sleep modes.
Yeah, you could put it in standby.
That was a huge thing, though.
Yep. What else?
Learning the buttons.
Learning the buttons.
With your gloves on.
Yeah.
In the cold. Because they're not raised. So... Like the new scopes now, they're raised or separated, so you knew the sight mark is just...
Yeah, it just had the circle on the top with the power button in the middle.
Right.
So you had to figure out, up, down, left, right, where you were.
And you're doing all this while coyotes are running in on you.
In the dark.
And you're super excited.
Yeah.
And if you're me, you're running the call at the same time.
Yep. Which, yeah.
Right.
So from Sightmark to the Pulsar.
Yes.
The C50.
It's a life-changing event.
Oh, my goodness. Night and day.
Yep.
I can't say anything bad about it. I haven't had a single issue with my Pulsar. The C50, the clarity.
Yep. Records.
Which
is cool.
With sound.
Well, the recording thing, I keep saying how great that is because, like, I had a situation the other night. You shoot something, and you're in a field, and it runs off.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Maybe you missed. I don't think I did. But,
no, watching the video, I don't think you missed either.
I don't think I missed. But to go back and reference.
Yeah. Where was it standing?
Because, with this happening also, you're excited. Things are coming in. You get like a little kid. You almost sound like buck fever. And I don't usually get that. And last night, well, it wasn't last night. It was a couple nights ago. It was cold. And we had made one stand before that. I called a dog from the opposite side of the road. And it went across the road and saw my pickup.
Yep.
And that thing just 180'd and gone. Like I caught it with my handheld scanner. I was hunting with a buddy of mine, and he was on the right side. It was on his side, and I said, "We got one coming from the other side of the road." And that thing got to the road, saw the pickup, and it was like a bolt of lightning gone. But that's why being able to record your shot.
Yes.
As long as you remember
to push record,
to push the button. See, like I think that
the thermals have they'll record on the shot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like so Rusty's will.
See, yeah, and
Steve's does too.
Steve and Chip, they both. When you pull the trigger, it'll go back like 5 seconds and then record ahead.
Get out! I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So it's kind of like almost constantly recording.
Yeah. It just goes back.
It just goes back a few seconds and then records forward a few seconds so that that time frame is captured.
About a smart device.
Yeah. I would.
Super beneficial to have
Yes.
recordings. Because how many times have we been like, we get out there and we can't find it?
Yeah. It was like, I know it was right here.
I was
This
by
is where
this
I
tree.
shot.
This is where I shot it. We go back and look, and no, man, we're
No,
like
that one,
yards off.
Oh, yeah. That one where I don't think we even started calling and I shot one. Because you were still kneeling down to get the call out of the bag. And I shot that one in the field there.
I can't remember that one.
Yeah.
I remember the time. I heard the gun go off. I was literally getting the call out of the bag.
And
you were like, there's a dog in it. You didn't even have time to tell me.
Nope. And there were two more circling around us, and we're watching them while we're trying to find this thing. And it wound up being 30 yards behind us.
Yeah.
We had walked right past it. I don't know how many times.
Oh, yeah. I remember that night. We're going there tonight.
Yeah. There were several times where Carl goes, get down, get down, get down. So I'm laying in the wet grass.
We didn't even have comms then, did we?
Yes.
We did have comms.
Did. Yes.
Comms are huge.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Get down. We don't recommend.
No. I mean.
And we don't shoot right over top of one another either. It's not like that. I mean, every time that's happened.
I don't know that we've actually taken a shot after saying that. It's just like a.
One, yeah, I've been involved in it.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, but it wasn't even in my direction.
Yeah, it was.
It's more of a safety thing.
Yeah.
Because it's not literally like the animal that we were recovering was down.
Yep.
And then the call goes over the comms and we lay down and the shot was a totally different direction because it was a total different animal coming in.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we don't shoot at each other.
No, we're definitely.
I don't want to scare our wives, you know.
Gun safety is definitely a big.
Do not do that.
Big thing to take into account.
I would never shoot over any of my guys, even if there was one standing there.
Yeah.
Which we all carry handguns, so at that point, if it's close enough, the guy laying on the ground could shoot it.
There you go. So like
C50 recording. Okay.
Yeah, the recording. So like, there have been several times. One I can remember is Carl shot one right on the edge of the woods, and we searched. I don't even know how long for it. Went to another field, came back, watched the recording. I was like, okay, he was still out in the field by the edge of the woods, and I go, okay, I'm looking at him. All right, go to your right there by that tree. Look down. Okay, there's blood. Definitely hit it. I mean, in the video, we could see that we hit it. And
that was the mangy one.
No, this is one that was curled up underneath that bush, remember?
So that happened twice in that spot then.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 hours we looked for that dog.
Yeah. And
I was army crawling through
again,
the thickest, god-awful brush you've ever seen in your life.
And again, we were way beyond where it was.
Yeah.
Searching around, trying to find tracks in the
pictures of that.
snow. So the video
helps.
It's fun to watch it again.
Man, I can remember that dog. I had a little cheap flashlight, and I'm like crawling through that creek bed.
Yep, wound up finding her curled up underneath a bush.
It looked like that.
Like she was just sleeping there.
It looked like the bush from Bambi.
Yes,
you know?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was tucked in there, and this thing, guys, died and laid down like it went to sleep.
Yep, it was just curled up,
and it wasn't looking at me, so I had no eye shine. I had that cheap. That's when I had the thermal, the little cheapie. Did I have the cheapie?
I think so. Yeah, the cheap. It was AGM, right?
AGM.
Yep.
I don't want to say it was cheap, but it's only like a 256 processor or something. It's super. It's 100 yards under. You're good to go. So I mean, like I'm crawling with my handgun, my flashlight, and this hand thermal, and I'm looking for heat spots, and you'd see a blob. You couldn't even tell it was an animal, and then you check it with the flashlight. Look at 2 hours we looked for that.
Yeah.
That was a long time. Recording's huge.
And that
huge benefit.
That might have been Sightmark days, too.
Yes, was.
That was Sightmark days.
I think the other one there, that mangy one, remember that crossed through the hedgerow, went into the grass out behind it in the next field, and then
grass.
And then hooked a right. Remember when we got to it, was alive?
Yeah, I don't know. I still don't know how you found that thing.
I don't know either. It was luck, because that grass was like 5-6 foot tall.
Oh yeah.
And I don't want to say it was luck. I crossed that ugly hedgerow. I'm telling you, it's right out of the movie. It's like there's little tunnels in it, and it's just a canopy, and you can't. And it's like coyote haven. Well, it used to be till the farm shut down. Now they don't. They used to put dead cows and stuff out there, and that was like they just lived there, man. That was their spot
for easy food,
right? But and you'd think, and they don't always eat on the bait piles either. Once them things start getting old and rancid, them coyotes don't want to eat it.
Yeah,
they like fresh stuff. But yeah, that one too. That was mangy. That thing went a good 80 yards. Was alive.
Yep.
When I got to it.
Yeah.
And then I had your pistol. I took your pistol because
Yes.
I didn't have mine. I was like, "Give me your pistol. I'm going in."
Yep.
And I shot it once with the pistol, and then when Josh had got to me, and we go to, because we have a drag too.
Yeah.
You got to have a drag. Especially for the mangy ones. So I didn't even know. I didn't even realize, man. It just looked like a coyote. I mean, it didn't have a winter coat, but it had fur, you know. So I just hooked the old drag to it and started going. It was still alive, remember?
Yeah, all the way back to the truck.
Yeah. He walked behind me. I was like, if that thing starts to get up, just tell me to drop it and then shoot it. I never seen that coyote had a will to live. I must have spined it. That's the only thing. I was back before we even had a fur buyer that took our stuff.
Yep.
We were just tossing them, and I didn't like doing that, so we changed. We adapted. So C50.
The C50.
Sorry, I get sidetracked.
No, it's fine. We're
chatting,
and it helps,
right?
Reinforce what we're talking about.
Right.
The stories. Then with the C50, we paired thermal scanners.
Yes. Also no more headlamps.
No more headlamp. We don't use lights unless we're looking for something.
Right.
After the
or
shot.
in the truck.
Or in the truck.
Not that we shoot from the window.
No. No.
No. Like we'll scan. We got a lot of spots.
Well,
so
we
we're
scan
pretty
with
fortunate.
the thermals now.
Yeah.
So
but I don't because I'm driving.
Well.
It's kind of hard to look through a thermal. They don't work through a windshield. Guys, don't do that. You will crash. So I keep my old PT light in the center console just to hit, if because Josh is obviously usually on the passenger side. I'll hit the ones on my side with the red light and just turn it down real low. Just look for some eye shine.
Yeah. So after buying the Pulsar C50, we kind of became biased to Pulsar. So I wound up getting the XG35, which is the 640 processor, 640. The thermal.
Mm-hmm.
Super clear.
Yes.
Fantastic scanner.
Yep.
I mean, we're kind of... Like
Customer service with Pulsar, though. Seriously, because I've had one issue. We buy our optics from a local guy. We should have him on here one night.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to meet him. But he, great dude.
The Reaper.
Yeah, the Reaper. We actually, I was a part of his coming into the coyote side of the world. He was just a long range shooter.
Yeah.
And we took him out one night, and so weird. The first spot, he had a 308 with a red light on it. And I think I had lights then. I might have had the Wraith then. No, I can, lights. We all had lights. I think we all had lights. When he gets on here, we'll have to ask him, but I'm pretty sure. 2 minutes in it on a woodpecker called a double.
Really?
And I remember I was on the right. We put him in the middle, and Rusty was on the left. So that way everybody has their section of fire.
Their shooting lane.
Because we don't, that's the other thing. We don't cross barrels and stuff or shoot past each other's heads. It's just not safe. In the dark, in the heat of it, when you're excited, don't do that. Have your vectors of fire and stick to it. And if you got guys that you hunt with that don't hunt with them.
Yeah.
Because, it's way better to go home to your family than, get shot in the back of the head.
Yeah.
But, so, yeah. Yeah, and it was, the thermals were huge.
Yep.
Still are.
Another game changer for us.
Yeah.
We scan thermal.
Yep. We're dark all the time.
Yep.
Scan thermal and shoot with night vision. And we got guys in the group that have thermal scopes that scan with their scopes.
Yep.
Then we have guys in the group that have thermal scopes that scan. They have hand scanners too.
Yes.
So, and they're the Pulsars with the 348 processor. And because, again, so the 640 is great. The 348, if you're just using it to know, if a coyote is coming.
Yeah.
With a 348. Like, I can see him. I can't tell you. Well, it depends. I don't want to lie. So, like, on the good nights, the good thermal nights, we call them. When you look through that thing, there's no moisture in the air because all that affects it. There's no, because you'll get like a halo with them. Then you got to play with your color palettes and your contrast and get into things like that to get them to see really well. On those nights, my 348, I can tell you what it is, without a problem.
Yeah.
And me and Josh I think we're the only ones that hunt thermals.
Thermal IR, yeah.
With thermal and then night vision. Yep. And, everybody's like, even the guys in the group, oh, you need to get a thermal. Well, the thermals are expensive. Someday, yes, I do want one.
Sure.
But, we've had nights and where they're with us and we get something coming in and they're asking us what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
they're asking us for the ID. Like,
yeah.
You have a $6,000 scope. You tell me what it is.
Right.
Like,
you need to tell me what gender it is for that kind of money. Because our little $1,500 night visions, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a fox or it's a bobcat.
Yep.
Well, that's the other thing is, and there, and everybody, and that was, when everybody was still kind of new to that game. Then you learn how they react as they're coming in. Yep. The bounce, the trot, the zigzag, bobcat straight in, just a solid walk. The distance, like a lot of times I've hunted with guys that are like, oh, there's something out there on the edge of that brush line, and it's a rabbit.
Yeah.
And the thing is, well, yeah, it's a heat ball. There's some big rabbits out there. But when you push out to like 300 yards, 400 yards, and you're looking at a heat ball on the edge of a thicket, it looks like something, but the distance of the heat ball to the ground.
Yeah.
You have to learn that.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the hand scanners, to know, because again, knowing what you're shooting at is super important because we're in the dark.
Yes. Like dark.
Dark.
Yeah.
Because even when it's real bright out, I don't like to go when it's bright. I feel like unless we can get in a tree line or something, but yeah, that's the hand scanners. Same thing with me. I started with it was a 30-30 and I had a Walmart floodlight rechargeable with a folder divider in it. I think I talked about it in the last episode. I made it up here that night after I lost one of my calves. And I was hunting with that. So try to shoot a Winchester 30-30 with a 8-inch spotlight hanging on one. So you're like, I'd sit down by a tree and squeeze the trigger and have the rifle on my knee trying to shoot with one hand. Try to do that.
Yeah.
And then I went up to our gun guys and up to our local gun shop, and they had these Predator Tactics light kits. And I was like, I think it was like $300. It was a lot of money.
Yeah, 2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. So I bought one. It was green. I had no idea. I ran that thing full power. It was clamped to my rifle. I was using a Vortex V-Bright. I love that scope with the lighted reticle, and it's pretty good glass for the money.
Yeah. Well, Vortex. Even the Crossfire I have on my
that's what it was.
My 6.5 is I mean, it's super clear. It's
Right.
like a $300 scope.
It's cheap, but it's a good scope, and it's never off.
No.
I've never had an issue with it being off. But we'd scan. I mean, that was. Oh God, we had. Oh, excuse me. We had bipods on our rifles, and we're scanning with those lights on top of the rifles,
Yep.
and wide open, full bright.
Oh, yeah.
They were adjustable though.
The PT ones.
Yep,
yes.
and didn't know any better, so we would just scan constant, back, forth, back. I wonder, we talk about this all the time, how many coyotes that we did call and never saw
Yep.
or spooked.
Right, because we were moving or hitting them with the light, directly with the light. And
Yep.
just, they were too far out for us
Hitting
to...
trees, bouncing
Yeah.
off of trees, shadow dark, light dark, light dark, light dark,
Yep.
because they were full bore. So, I had a light, and I hunted with that and that rifle for a long time. I think my bobcat kill was like my first
Yeah, first, like, nighttime cold.
Right. called.
Yep.
That was with a red light on. That was that setup.
No, it was a 223.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was a red light.
Oh, yeah.
Was
it
it?
wasn't the 30-30.
No,
No, that was the 223.
no, that was my 2.2. Yeah, my AR, my M&P. Then we started talking about night vision scopes.
Yep.
I think Rusty, we got to get him on here too. Rusty, kind of, he was like he was the guy we asked, like, what do you think about this or that? And he's like, well, I was looking at these Sight Mark wraiths, and there's $500, and it's night vision. It's
Yep.
a good, runs off double A's, super easy to get. We get them at
Right.
the corner store if we're hunting, this,
yeah.
that, and the other thing. So I think I bought the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ordered your Wraith, and I think I ordered mine like the next day.
Right. And then Rusty had one, and then Cousin Chip had one. They all had problems. You guys all had problems with cold weather with those.
Yep.
Mine, never. That
Yeah,
thing,
I don't know how.
the coldest I ever, because I was talking about this the other day with a guy on one of the Facebook groups, because they were talking about the cold and what to do with the race, and because it's so cold out in the Midwest right now. And I never had a problem. Mine would go fire up in the cold, come off of sleep mode, record. It did everything. The only thing I couldn't do was run a power pack.
Yep.
So I had to have batteries with me. And I ran everybody runs different batteries in them. I've tried rechargeables. They never lasted. So I used to run the Duracell Optimums. They were $20 a package.
Yeah.
In a good week of hunting, I'd go through a pack of them.
Right.
But they were, you had to have good batteries in it. And then, so with the Wraith, I had a PT light. I put the 850 IR in it and ran that. And now we're talking like Josh said, it was like 800 yards. I could see good with that thing.
Oh, yeah.
And because the stock IR light that comes with the Wraith is no good. I mean, it's good. If you're just going to go out and it's warm in where you are.
And you're only looking to see 100, 150 yards.
Yeah, maybe 200. Maybe. I could barely see the fence across the field.
Yeah. So.
Not clearly identified either.
No.
It worked.
Oh, yeah.
It just sucked with those batteries.
Yep.
Because they were stupid expensive.
Yes.
They do not have those at corner stores.
No.
So that makes no sense to me. We had to go to Walmart or
CVS or something.
CVS or Lowe's or something. And if, we hunt at night and those places are closed. So once your CR123 died, you were done.
You were all done for the night.
So before, I had a headlight too. We scanned with a headlight. And then one of my dad's friends gave me this Bushnell night vision.
Oh,
do you remember that thing?
Yeah, I do remember.
It's atrocious. It's huge. It's like a telescope.
Yeah.
But it was free.
Yeah.
And
Can't argue with that.
he was an old timer that did it with spotlights, and he's like, I used to use this, and I'm like, and it ran on CR123s,
Yeah.
and I used that for a while The IR light in it wasn't that great. You'd get like 200 yards out of it, but you could see eye shine. It worked. It was huge. Like I said, it was like a telescope. So you couldn't just shove it in your pocket. I think I had a lanyard on it, and I used to hang it off my neck. And then it would get wrapped up in the tripod or whatever. Because at that point, we went to the Bog tripods.
The Bog pod.
Yep. And that was huge, because then we could... Oh, my God.
Yeah, just set your rifle, forget about it until you needed it, and just sat there.
Well, you could focus on what you're doing. Scanning, calling, whatever.
Yep.
You don't have to mess around with trying to get things figured out. You know, you could it just made it was safer.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So, yeah, Wraith, and then that's on the OG gun, the original, and I fired it up the other day. It'll fire up right now, right?
Yeah. I haven't touched mine in probably over a year.
I shot it here last summer. I got it out. Well, it was fall before season started. That's my backup gun.
Yeah.
I've shot a lot of coyotes with that gun. Just a normal, I think it's an 18-inch barrel. It's a 1 in 9 twist. It's got a different upper on it. A friend of mine gave me a different upper because I had that big steel front sight on my...
that interfered with the scope.
Right. And I couldn't figure out why I was having trouble seeing anything, and the light was hitting that giant front sight.
Yep.
And I was going to drill the rivets out and take it off, and then a buddy of mine had a Bear Creek one. It was a 1 in 9, and I can't believe he gave it to me. He gave it to me. We put it on, and that was the way it was, and I shot quite a few dogs. That was huge, going from that to that. And then once we started talking about C50s and hand scanners, at that time we were still running headlights. You had the
Predator Tactics headlamp.
Yeah, it was a good headlamp.
Oh yeah,
it was good. My brother's got one too. I bought him one for Christmas one year when we were doing it like that. And then I had a Wicked that I bought secondhand from a guy. It worked good, but the wiring in it was crap. And remember, we soldered it here before we went out a couple times. It wouldn't work. The wires come off. It was just beat up. I still got it.
Yeah, the only thing I had happen with my PT headlamp is I broke the switch. And the plastic around it broke. So I super glued it back together, and it still works today.
Super glue and duct tape.
Yeah.
Fixing stuff where you go out.
Holds the world together.
Yeah, we... Yeah, and then I had the Wicked, and then I started watching Jason from Sniper Hog on Facebook and watching his, he would do lives and talk about his products and this and that, and I bought, basically it's a coyote cannon for your head.
Yeah.
I don't even know, I don't remember the number on it.
I can look it up quick.
I can't. God, it's escaping me right now. I still got that. That's a great light. So that, scanning with you. So we were scanning with headlights. We had comms.
Yes.
We had radios. We messed around with a bunch of different radios. And so you were rifles, tripods, hands-free, running the call, scanning with our headlights. And then it got to where these dogs started to recognize, they knew the lights. Did you find it?
Is it the 50?
Yes.
Yeah.
The K, what is it?
The KAP.
The KAP 50?
The 50 KAP, yeah.
Or whatever it is. It's I'm murdering the name of it, but yeah. Yeah, 50 KAP headlamp. Yeah. It was that's a great headlamp. Super bright, ungodly bright.
Yeah.
Also, the only thing I don't like, and we're going to both talk about this, the weight.
Oh, yes.
Like, you have no idea. We wore them headlights for years. And headlights with comms. So then we had our headsets.
Yep.
I remember when I got that first cheapy scanner, and I was still using my headlamp with that cheap scanner. I had the AGM scanner thermal because I could only see 150 yards and couldn't tell you what it was.
Right.
I was still using the red for the buttons on the collar, learning the buttons on the collar because they weren't illuminated. So I would just kind of, glance down quick just to see where I know them now. I can do it with blindfold. But yeah, we were using those. But when we took those, I remember the first night I went out without mine.
Yes.
My neck felt better the next day.
Like
they're heavy. That
heavy.
is the only thing I don't like.
And towards the end of using them, before we went dark with the thermal scanners and everything,
The dark ages.
I would get such a wicked headache by the end of the night.
That thing hitting you in the forehead.
Right in the forehead. And then
all the time.
The battery pack hanging off the back.
Oh my God.
It was just like a vice grip just squeezing your head.
I got mine on my dresser, and I was looking for the batteries. I needed the batteries out of it. And I put that thing on, and I was like, oh my God. Like, how did I wear this all night long?
For hours on end.
Like I said, I remember the first night after I got my Pulsar of just freedom.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with them, though. They are great.
No, it's a great thing to have. And
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're getting.
It all depends on what your budget is.
Yep.
Like, I've been fortunate enough to be able to afford more expensive, nicer stuff over the years.
Dig the needle in deeper.
Yeah.
We have friends. Our gun guy there, Tony, he always said, he goes, sometimes I just think maybe drugs are cheaper. Yeah. I don't think Tony does drugs, but he just always makes that reference that, I mean, it's so expensive, but it's a good time, and, so that's just me and you now.
Yeah. And it's primarily my only hobby that I have.
Right.
And we can only do it 6 months out of the year.
Right. We have a season.
So over the summer, it's like, oh, what's coming out for next year? What's bigger
what are we
and better
gonna do?
than what we have? Or,
I love it when my wife is like, do you really need anything else? And I'm like,
always.
Yes, honey. Yes, I do. I'm sorry. But I'm that guy that, she makes an Amazon list. And I'm like, what do you want? Just put it in the list, send it to me, I'll buy it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, we're both we treat each other evenly. Oh, yeah. She just knows, ever since this coyote thing, it's like.
Yeah. No, my wife expects it every fall. So what are you getting this year?
Right. When I bought my hand scanner, she almost choked. Because I didn't tell her. I was like, I'm going up to buy a scanner.
I gave the warning.
Oh, you did?
She's like, well, how much is that going to be?
I didn't tell her.
With taxes?
Right. She read the receipt when I got home. So I used the card. She's like, how much was that? I was like, here, babe, try this out,
This is cool,
so she's
right?
looking at our dog in the house with it. She's like, this is so awesome. And then, goes outside, looks out across the field here with it. She's like, this is great. She goes, by the way, how much was this? And I just kind of gave her the receipt and walked in the other room. I'm like, we don't need to talk about that.
When I got mine, I went down to my parents' house to show my dad. He's like, oh, that's really cool. How much was that? And I hold up 3 fingers. He's like, $300? Oh, yeah, $300. We'll go with that.
Yeah, imagine that. Oh, my God. Not 300.
No, not 300.
That's even like my Wraith. I remember I was doing something with it over at the shop, and it was in the tripod, and my dad comes in, and he goes, so this is what you run around with all night. Why you're always tired all day? I'm like, yeah, this is it. And we had been hunting for a couple of years, obviously, because we had night vision by then, and I turned it on for him. Now, he's got real bad eyes. Well, not bad. He just been around dirt and dust all his life. Oh, yeah. That they don't tear, so that, he just always battles that. But, these scopes are TV screens.
Yeah.
It's not like trying to look through glass. It's totally different. So he looked through and he was like, man, it's a good thing we didn't have these when we were kids.
My dad said the same thing.
It's a good thing. Because, believe it or not, it was different then.
Oh, yeah.
There would have been dead bucks everywhere.
Everywhere.
Them guys were cowboys, but it was You know, but it is what it is. You know, I mean, back then, hey, we were pretty poor, and we ate deer to eat to live.
Yeah.
So it was, and that's what always, like, you know, there's guys that jack deer, and I don't agree with that at all.
No, be a sportsman about it.
Right, be a sportsman, and that's the way we were brought up, to be a sportsman. The bottom line is if we were hungry, we ate deer meat.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was, and I don't care what anybody says, you know, that's just how we were brought up. So then after that, you know, after the race and how impressed the old guys were of them.
Yes, they were.
It just got deeper and deeper, and then I ended up, I think you got your C50 first.
Yes, I did.
And because Rusty was like, oh, you know, Pulsar makes a night vision. And we started looking into those, and ended up, Josh had got his first, and I remember the night I looked through, I was like, oh my God, I need one of these.
Need this, yep.
And I begged, borrowed, and stealed, and got one, and been running it ever since. Run it both on the AR platform and my bolt gun, which is a Ruger, and that's what it's currently on now.
Yeah. We're running bolt guns, which we'll talk about guns in another episode,
Right.
but we're just
And
focusing on the optics
I ran
now.
the stock IR. The stock IR for the C50 is a good IR. And then I had some technical issues that had nothing to do with the light, but I ended up getting a hold of Sniper Hog, and because the Canon, I had the Canon on there, and it's just so heavy. And then I ended up getting a 66 with the Turbo 850 on it, and that's what I'm running now with a dimmer tail cap, and I love it. I can see everything I need to see, and that was it. That was the end of it.
So far.
We got a lot of stories. We'll get into those.
Yeah. We slipped some in today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, that's about it. That's where we're at now. We're running Pulsars. Love Pulsar. Love the product.
Pulsar, Sniper Hog lights.
Sniper Hog lights. Great lights.
Great lights to have.
Customer service with both.
Yes.
Are great.
You've dealt with it more than I have.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll touch on it a little bit. Is Pulsar, I had an issue with a battery. It would, you know, because it's got an internal, two externals, or an external for the IR and an external for the scope itself, which the runtime on a Pulsar is unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
Even in cold temperatures.
Yep. Easily 6. I mean, we've gone 6-8 hours.
Right.
Because I just put mine to sleep.
Yeah.
Between
Again,
stands.
it has a sleep mode.
Yep.
So it's super. I mean, you just got to learn your buttons.
Yep.
And you got to be, you know,
there's only 3 on the Pulsar.
Right.
And they're separate.
And
nice layout.
Right. And you got to be able to just, if you're scanning with your hand scanner, to go to, because we don't run our scopes all the time. They're in sleep.
No, I leave mine on, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't put it to sleep. That way it's one less thing I got to think about.
Oh,
I just got to hit record.
I run mine in sleep.
I just got to hit record.
Right. Because that's the other thing, is forgetting the record button, which we already talked about. But, yeah, I had issue with a Pulsar battery. They gave me a new one.
Yeah. And you had
it's $100 battery.
Right. You had a problem with the charger.
And the charger. You know, my charger wouldn't. So I would have to charge them in the scope and just swap them. That's when I was using the stock IR. Mm-hmm. And then I went to the Sniper Hog 66. Now, Sniper Hog, I had issues with the headlight, cord problems. Just, you know, it's from use.
Yeah.
And
normal wear and tear.
Right. And I had emailed them, and they were like, nope, send it back. We'll fix it. And there was no question. Yeah. I sent it back. I had it back in 3 days, ready to rock and roll, you know. And Pulsar, same thing. I had problems with the battery. It would drain super fast. And they sent me a new battery. And then for some reason, my charger stopped working. I don't know why. It just wouldn't. You put the batteries in and it wouldn't light up. And then some days it would. It was weird. Like I left it plugged in and I would pull the battery out of it and just try it that night when I got home to see if it was going to work. And if it did, I put all the batteries in it and let it charge. If not, I charge them through the scope, which you can do.
Yeah.
And they just take a long time to charge. That's the only thing.
Yeah, the scope.
Even the scanners.
My scanner charges quick.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like mine
even
takes...
with that big APS-5 battery that is in it, it's maybe an hour, hour and a half. That thing's fully charged. The scope I leave plugged in for quite some time.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt it, I don't think.
I don't think so.
Because I plug them in when we get home usually. Yeah. Or the next morning.
I usually do it the next day because by the time I get home, I'm ready for bed.
I'm ready for bed. Tonight's going to be a long night.
It's going to be a long night.
Yeah, because our tournament doesn't start till midnight. It's currently 10:30.
Yeah.
So once it starts, we're loading up and heading out. So we're just recording a podcast.
Killing a little time.
Yeah. Try to share. You know, that's, again, when we talked about it in the first one, we just want to share what we've done.
Yeah.
The problems we've had. And it, like the guys that come into it now that hunt with us, my brother hunts with us, my cousin hunts with us.
A couple friends. They've all piggybacked on all of the, I don't want to say mistakes that we've made in the past. Some of it was mistakes.
Yeah.
But all the information that we've gathered over the years of doing this.
We never had that.
They just come in and be like, all right, well, what do I need? And they go out and they get, the best stuff currently. It's, just like we're running. And
They didn't start the bottom like we did.
They,
Because even with the Wraith with its problems, man.
It was still a good scope.
I don't take it away from it. Like, you just got to know. Like, mine, so towards the end when I was, where I run it cold, I took an old wool sock, man, made a sheath for it. Everybody laughed at me. But I was talking about this in the Facebook group the other day. One of the Predator Group's guys running it. It's going to be cold out there. And I made a sheath for it, and I would just get, hand warmers.
Yeah. And
crack, too, and slide them in there. And it was, I didn't have any rubber bands, so it's actually my kids' hair ties that hold the, it's the goofiest thing ever.
Hey, it works.
But I've been out in cold temps with that thing. You keep a couple hat packs in there, and you don't even have to put two. You just need one on the battery cover.
Just keep the scope warm enough to.
It doesn't have to be super heated, just warm. But yeah, that's where it all, they've come into it where they just know. Yeah. They're so lucky.
Piggyback on all the stuff that we've done.
Even the sounds. Like when we call. I've been calling for a while. So now, like, we take a new guy out. Yeah. Well, we're not going to give him the remote. We should.
Yes. You learn it.
Right. Like, go start like we started, not knowing, because vocals. I mean, prey distress sounds, are pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Like, if you know what's in your area, that's what you use. But the vocals, man, learning how what to say back to them when they talk to you, which we've collected from podcasts, YouTube videos, Facebook Lives, like with Heath Baker. I watched him, still watch him. No, but it's a little different here.
Yeah.
Even, I don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, you guys got it easy. Because there's nothing about coyote hunting that's easy.
No.
I mean, it is fun, but it's work. It's a lot of walking. It's a lot of long nights. Mm-hmm. Because you invest all this money into something you want.
You want to go out and use the equipment. And
right.
We always have fun.
Right.
Even
getting on the spots.
Nights. Yep.
Well, like we take the new guys out, turn a call on. Boom, there's a coyote.
Yeah.
Boom, there's a fox. Boom, there's a... You know what I mean?
Yep.
And they're like, "Oh, this is great." I'm like, "Man, I called for 4 years and never shot nothing."
You have no idea what it's actually like.
I have nothing. Like, you guys are in this way easier than we were. But
yeah.
Anyway,
you can find us on Facebook.
Yeah.
At One Predator.
Yep.
We recently just got a TikTok.
Yeah. See how long that stays up.
One Predator Hunts.
Yes. They keep taking our videos down. But
they did.
Yeah.
Oh.
But we just keep appealing and putting them back up because there's no weapons in it. I don't know. The people are just so soft.
also on Instagram
Yep.
at One Predator Hunts.
Yep.
So you can find us on those 3 platforms. Give us a follow. Give us a like.
And we're going to have many more of these.
Oh, yeah.
Many more.
I'm
So,
enjoying it. So we'll keep
having
going.
a good time. Thanks for listening to the One Predator podcast, and we'll catch you on the next one.